I believe so.
I never heard that.
I didn't realize I had the app in the lead with her. Right, I didn't get it.
Well, I had it on my other computer, but I'm in the process of changing the computer, so I looked it up yesterday and found it. Here's the part I had it.
Getting away there in the office.
Yeah, it is. Ours gonna be a bad day.
It's still in Dallas.
They've already called us every time.
Tomorrow's gonna be fun.
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon, it'll be a fun time.
It's called Greenberry. Got a bunch of.
Yeah. Let's see what they'll like. They'll catch it. What grade are you? Radar study. Yeah, good.
Good morning.
How you doing, sir?
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
How you doing?
One of the other.
Yeah, let's start next Monday.
Kenny, how you doing, man? You sure?
This was a home bus condition. The bill, basically, but she said this wasn't in your folder that you looked at. The acronym wasn't in that. You go through. it.
Right, and that's what I
But it
told
was
you.
on the agent version. That's almost like what in picture.
It was on
She said you
the,
approved it, so.
yeah, it's good. I was, just making sure it wasn't in somebody else's book and they thought they were pretty.
She didn't make sure you saw it. She said, "Well, those are the rest of it. I give you the folder, it wasn't in it."
Gotcha. Thank you. No, not in that public hearing. When we go into that public hearing, anybody can. Yes, sir.
Public hearing. Somebody signed up for public comment?
He'll say that when we get to the public hearing.
Nobody signed up. for public hearing.
Right. But the public comments will be other than, subdivision regulations, then I would assume.
That's what they asked you.
Andy will say that when he goes in that hearing, anybody can talk.
Yeah. Okay.
I assume he'll say it.
If you want to.
we need to meet sometime on. What we're gonna do on that, or on the building.
Right, I need to get, find out who did the interviews last time and do it. Same people. Do it this time. since we're familiar with them all. You know who did the interviews? I didn't think I was.
I don't remember, I know who it wasn't. It wasn't me.
Okay. Hawk. Yeah, that's my next week's project.
You know, our friends are finishing up about that. Well, we can explain.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Where is everybody?
Good question.
It's like herding cats today.
Good, you can make it. What you talking about, boy?
We're withdrawn. Withdrawn.
Okay, all heads together.
That's right.
What you say now?
All right, would you please stand? I've asked David Barber to lead us in our invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day today and our many blessings. Father, I just thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this meeting this morning. Father, I ask that you be with our commissioners, Judge Reese, as they make important decisions for you and for Van Zandt County. Thank you for those in attendance today and the families that are represented. Following this meeting, I ask that you watch over all of us as we travel to our next destinations. Be with us as we carry on with our responsibilities each and every day. Forgive us of our sins. All this we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the American flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. Got a full house today. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order on February the 15th at 9:01 a.m. We do have a quorum. All commissioners are present. Okay, just say. Okay. Item number 1, discuss and consider dispensing with the reading of the minute. No, wait, I'm sorry. Item number 2, discuss and consider dispensing with the reading of the minute of the Commissioners Court and approval of same for February the 15th, 2022, 23. Actually, you need to correct that.
Make a motion with a correction of 2023.
Okay, there's a motion made. Is there a second?
Second Pearson.
Motion made and second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 3, discuss, consider approval of county bills for payment as submitted.
So moved Pearson.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and second. And is there any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 5. General, not, wait a minute. Item number 4, discuss, consider ratifying county bills as submitted.
Motion made, LaFred. Second.
All right, motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right, now item number 5, recognition, general announcements. Are there any general announcements? We'll go right into recognition of county employees and officials.
All right, and so first, Chris Martin, you can come up here. First.
All right. So it is my honor to recognize 3 Zandt County employees today. I'm going to begin with my coordinators, Ms. Waynette Barker and Ms. Patty Abraham. I want to say that these women exemplify the word work ethic. These 2 individuals came to work for me in 2019 when I took office. Matter of fact, they didn't get here, I think, until the end of the first week or the beginning of the second week, and I started to wonder if I had made a mistake coming to work in the courthouse without any help. And I always tell the story that there's about 2 weeks in, I would be going home about 6:30 and helping my wife get the kids in bed, and then eating dinner, and then coming back and working until about 11 or 11:30. And my wife said, you know, Chris, I thought you said this was going to be better than your previous job as DA. And I told her, I said, I thought the same thing too. Maybe I made a mistake, but I was wrong, because shortly after that, these 2 amazing women came into my life, and they had turned things around remarkably. And they had exactly 0 years of legal experience coming to work in the district judge's office. But I knew their ability. I knew that they were capable. And once they got here, they exemplified that work ethic. They take pride in what they do. No task is too small. No task is too big. They pour their heart into their job, and I'm very fortunate to have them. Couldn't do the work of the district court without them. And if they leave me, then I'm going to have to leave too. So I'm going to put everybody on notice that my job is contingent upon them doing their job, and I tell them that they are indentured servitude, servants in indentured servitude until I get ready to leave. So I want to really just have this opportunity to recognize Waynette and Patty for all their hard work, how much I appreciate them, and look forward to working with them every day. I get compliments on both of these ladies, not only inside the courthouse, but outside the courthouse with every agency that we work with. And I'm just very blessed to have both of them in my life here in the courthouse. So Patty and Waynette, as you'll come up, I want to go ahead and present this to you. This is the 5 years of service certificate and pin. These are pure gold, is what the commissioners have told me. Here's some of this.
Over right there. There's Ian. Ian. Thank you.
This time I would like to recognize Ms. Karen Burns. Karen, if you'll come up here with me. Karen is the director of our Zandt County Community Supervision and Corrections Department, known to the criminal desk probation. Karen is one of the first individuals that I met when I started to work with Zandt County in 2004 as administrative assistant. And for some reason, I thought that Karen and I, being close to the same age, she was starting at the same time that I was, that we were embarking on our career at the same time. Little did I know that she'd already been there 10 to 12 years before I decided to start a career. Karen is one of these individuals who just leads by example. It's killing her to stand right here. She does not like this attention. I tried to tell her right before she came in, this is not attention. This is recognition. Attention can be bad or good, but recognition is good. And so a few years ago, the Honorable Teresa Drum and the Honorable Randy McDonald and myself, we sat down to determine who was going to take over the reins of the Van Zandt County Probation Department after longtime director Kenneth Pruitt had retired. And Ms. Burns was one of the lone finalists, and during her interview, it became apparent to all of us that she was the right woman for the job. And she's done a great job over the probation department. She works tirelessly with other agencies and departments within the county to make sure that she's fulfilling the directives that the state puts on her over there. She does a great job. And I think that you can tell that by her leadership within the department. She has the respect of those who work for her. She puts those employees first. She works hard for the probationers that she's always seeking to rehabilitate. She's also there to hold them accountable. So she does a great job. I rely on her every day. And, you know, if you have employees and they're responsible for things, those employees that handle business and you really don't have to think about it because you know someone is taking control and handling every aspect of that job to take it off your plate, you know how invaluable that person is. And that's who Karen is to me. She's very invaluable in the fact that I really don't have to worry about what's going on over across the street because I know that Karen's in charge. And so Karen today is being recognized for 30 years of service for her employment here at Van Zandt County. And she's a great asset to this county. And I'm so thankful to have her as my probation director. And she reminds me every day that she can retire. So with that, I handle her with kid gloves. Okay, so congratulations, Karen. Come on, Karen.
It's like that's evenings like that.
All right, it's my honor to recognize someone who's gonna be upset with me for the next 2 weeks because I didn't tell her this was coming. She does not want me to point out to you, she doesn't want me. Okay. So just so you know, for like the next 4 weeks, I'm gonna have a hearing scheduled at 4:30 on Friday. It's worth it, and will present to you this 50-year certificate for service to Van Zandt County. Just so you know how dog years are 7 to 1, court years are 10. Because anyhow, lawyers will tell you, by the way, that it doesn't matter how good the judge that you have in the court or how capable they are, successful, intelligent, and some. It just keeps going right. It all comes down to the staff. The staff are the ones that really make things happen. And even though when campaign season comes around, election time comes around, we like to take credit for all of those things and the miraculous things that really happened. In the last 5 years, case numbers going down, trial dockets are just going away. Really, what that comes down to is the quality of the staff. And I have been very, very fortunate to have actually staff here. Any other county you go to, there's 2, maybe 3 people that does the same job that she does in person. And what I hear from lawyers over and over and over again is they would much rather talk to her than me. Okay. She's got that personality, that ability to use situations to help people to crisis situations. And for them sometimes to come in off of that and leave satisfied and leave with an understanding about the process with this. Hopefully this number will one day have another digit because this county really has My pleasure to present to you this pen and this.
Yeah. Josh was in. Hey, good morning. I've got, I want to recognize somebody, one of our employees, Sheila, you would come on up here, please. Now I'm gonna get in trouble. Really good to see look on her face when I call her name, so, yeah.
She didn't know here.
Come on, please.
I'm his son.
Yes, ma'am. You're fine. Everybody knows Sheila Bellamy. She works in our records up from Sheriff's Office. She's been there for 10 years. We're the Sheriff's Office, I've been in law enforcement since. We're first paid for. I came over there about 9.5 months, 15 months ago. Heard some buildings I got to work with having was there's lots of working parts of it. She's up front, she's in the records, she does numerous things, but one big thing she does, she gives the public on a regular basis. And some folks come in your arms with a set, are too happy with the set, and she's able to sort things out. Feel the same, get to what they need, and work less than that. Sheila, we've got this in for you, 10 years. And certificate. Got all these names on there, we go to work to get them along.
Yes.
And we say, look for her to, her role is not just to me, her role is to this county, the sheriff's office there. How many sheriffs we work for?
You're my dear.
5 sheriffs. Something he said for that. We appreciate that work very much. We get a picture with this? All right.
Part on this far.
So we have 2 more that were not able to make it to court, so I would just like to recognize them myself. So we have Josephine Snelling at the juvenile probation. She has 20 years of service. And then we have Monica McCool there that works with the DPS Sergeant Bradshaw. And so she's got 5 years with the county. So these are 2 that could not make it, but I would like to recognize.
Thank you. I want to thank our HR department, Jessica and Emily, for implementing this program of recognizing people with years of service. We have some incredible people working for our county, and we need to recognize them for what they do. All right, are there any other general announcements?
Yes, sir. I got 2 awards I would like to add, and I'm gonna step around.
Okay.
Here we go, John. This is very good, brand new policy. Yeah, we put together some recognition certificates here, Barb. These 2 gentlemen worked for Romebury Precinct 1. And this past week, they was riding the truck, passing potholes for the county. And they was driving along, and they just happened to be aware of their surroundings, and they noticed that there was a female that had fallen out in the yard of the property, an elderly female. And they stopped her in her aid. Turned out she was on blood thinner medication, so they had to have some rags and stuff there and kept her in her truck and then we utilize to help control the bleeding and keep her, stay with her until emergency service arrives and take care of her. So I want to give special recognition to this man for caring about the citizens of our county enough to be alert of their surroundings, take the extra effort to stop and help people when others. Thank you, gentlemen.
Right. Here, gentlemen. We'll get one right here. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you guys for your service, your awareness of the situations going around. Any other general announcements? Is there, moving on to item number 6, public comments? Scott, did we have anybody sign up for public comments? No, sir. All right. All right, at this point in time, we will go into a public hearing to review changes to the Van Zandt County subdivision regulations. And that would be at 9:18. The public hearing allows public comment about the changes, proposed changes into the subdivision regulations. I believe, Virgil, are you going to?
Yes, a judge and commissioners, I put this on the agenda for possible changes to the subdivision rules and regulation. I think we have someone that'd like to speak this morning, on that, Jim. Yeah, come on up. And. Yeah.
I'm James Keane. I'm the resident surveyor for Bison Creek, Community, Land Survey Company. I've got these rules, when you're all talking about putting it down on an 8.5 by 14 plat, which I cannot get a survey on an 8.5 by 14 with the meets and bounds description if it's done right according to state rules and regulations for surveying. But I've got questions about this. I know I've been taking plats and reducing them down. I'll be still drawing them on like 11 by 17 plat. I'm going to be doing these individually. But my question is the setback line. Okay. The cost efficiency on if I'm having to write more meets and bounds tracts, like a setback or easements, meets and bounds on top of a page of a survey, that's more expensive to me than going through a plat process. Because that plat process dedicates the 15-foot easements or whatever. If I'm writing meets and bounds and bisecting inside, internal, like setback lines, dedications, then I'm going to have a whole lot of documents coming with that. And then all dedication, all necessary utility. Okay, what I'm asking is, now if my survey, if it goes in deed records, is the copy of the survey with my meets and bounds going to be filed at the same time? Or is it just going to be the meets and bounds tract? Because if I'm putting on anything on that, it's just going to be all meets and bounds. I need to get with the county clerk, I guess, on a lot of.
That's what I was going to say is, we'll need to sit down and talk, because I have to have certain things in our system
Yes.
for if anyone comes in to look for any item, everything needs to be in there together.
Yeah.
Or they don't have to try to search for it here and
Okay.
there. But we could get together, we can see.
Yeah, I need to, because the dedication, that document doesn't exist unless it comes with my survey. When I'm doing a bounded survey on a 4-acre tract together with the ingress egress easement to it for their access, I've got a 2-tract survey.
Okay.
And
We can
those-
get together and look at that before.
Yeah, because
Be recorded.
according to this, if I have to do a lot of easements, I'm gonna advise my client, I can do it cheaper plat. And I know you guys are trying to get this where it's cheaper than going through plat. But I've got my main technicians here, and if y'all have any questions, they're the ones that produce this stuff on it. And it's we cannot put a scale survey on an 8.5 by 14 that's level. It all gets, say if it's 4-acre tract with a whole lot of easements on it. The whole deal is making sure the survey's level.
Well, Jim, you give us a copy of the plat now.
Yeah, well, but I'm giving you copies of a plat that is a larger scale,
Well, it's.
and then you're reducing them down.
it's
I'm
got
gonna have to
everything
do,
on it. It's
I'm
got
gonna have
everything.
to do the same thing
The
here.
Mylar copy has the 8.5 by 14 copies that you give us now has everything on it that's on the Mylar copy.
Yeah, yeah. But,
What's the problem?
okay, the problem is, all those easements that are on the plat are dedicated on the face of the plat. Now, if I'm doing other meets and bounds tracks on the face of the survey, I've got so many documents that are compiling on top of that by written conveyances. Now, I'm wondering, how does a landowner, subject landowner, dedicate, grant himself an easement without it going through the selling process or that, in other words, grantee, grantor? Because those documents are not, unless you file it with their deed, existing deeds. I've got questions on this.
Well, I mean, usually if somebody comes in to file, let's say we already have it platted and everything's recorded and someone needs an easement or whatever. That person comes in and files the easement on their property and it goes from the grantor to
Yeah.
grantee. I mean, it connects.
It has to go
with-
through the transaction.
Mhm, it connects it.
Yeah, yeah.
But they come in and just record it. I don't know that it goes back through the commission's court.
Yeah.
It needs,
So if I'm cutting out a track, 4 tracks for a person, and he's gonna sell them later on down the line, how do I know all those tracks are getting recorded right later on down the line? Do you all keep a copy, or I didn't know whether these were going into a special file? Or are these going
say
in,
these were- I mean, that-
this 8.5 by 14 survey by Mason
That
Bound?
is all scanned in, and what we do is we scan it in with your top page, in other words, the 2023.
And it goes into the deed record.
And it goes into the deed record.
Okay,
Also, we usually keep one of the originals and put it in with the Mylar into the plat. For my
Yeah.
downstairs, so that if a person comes in and is trying to make a copy of the plat, that's where we're.
yeah, those are going on the cabinet lot. That's,
Piece and
yeah,
everything
yeah.
together. That's why we were asking for the 8.5 by 14. We're in the process of trying to get a huge scanner / copier from another county. And so I'm negotiating that right now, which I'll bring it forward. Possibly as a donation to where maybe we can stop.
our
that, so we can
donor of
make
our
copies.
company was gonna get one and have you all be able to use it.
You know, so we're in the process of trying to get that settled, but for now, we do need the 8.5.
Okay, so is the copy of the survey itself not getting filed? That's,
Anything that's given to us is being filed in the record.
okay,
How you use it, that's up to you.
all right.
So Jim, the whole idea of this is these citizens out here are paying $1,000, $1,500 for a Mylar copy on a tier 2, which is
Yeah.
less.
Yeah,
Less than-
about 3,000.
Yeah, less
Yeah.
than 4
Yeah.
acres.
Yeah.
And it fronts a public road.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
build a road into it, it negates all that. It's a
But
tier 1.
the regular boundary surveys, you're gonna run around $1,200 a piece. Okay, so when I do 4 tracks, there's 4 times 1,200, because each one of them is gonna be a separate document for them to be able to sell. So we're already looking at getting up towards the platting. Now, a lot of these developers coming to me thinking when I file a plat, they get a copy of the lot survey. Well, no, that's over above. I have to take that lot survey out and draw it up for their transaction. But this is gonna make, usually, I don't even send proof out of the office for less than $1,000. I'm sure that, I know your area, we don't prospect or anything like that, but I know most of the survey companies nowadays are right around that. So in every legal document, 1 survey, 2, 3 survey, 4 survey, I got liability on each one, so. And then I start putting a whole lot of documents on top of those. It runs into money.
The meets and bounds are not on the Mylar copy.
Meets and bounds are on that's the dedication, the
Right.
whole subdivision,
That's
just
exactly right.
one meets and bounds.
Right.
So when you're doing it this way, I'm gonna have a meets and bounds for each lots, each tract. So that's 4 separate surveys.
Well, there's some confusion. We're still requiring plating.
Yeah,
Plating is not.
yeah, I know.
Uh,
My whole deal was, is I'm trying to talk to y'all to see how I can do this. Because when I start having to do a lot of easements, like TBEC easements on top for the power poles and stuff, there's another document I have to put in place. I don't know how I'm gonna do. It says a certificate conforming compliance with setback lines with these regulations. Where are the setback lines coming from on my survey? Am I having to write another document for that? Or can I put it on the face of the survey? Like a note,
Sure.
this tract is subject to the setback lines and not having meets and bounds.
Well, I mean, that might be an option, but whatever you put on a Mylar copy now
Yeah,
would be what you would put on, would be a miniature copy of what you filed.
see on the plan, the judge signed it.
Yeah, and the
Is the
judge,
judge signing
he's
these?
still gonna have to sign these.
Oh, okay.
It's just gonna be a miniature copy
Uh,
of the Mylar copy
Okay.
presented now.
Exactly like the Mylar.
Yes, so
Okay.
that's why I
The
see,
Mylar should be exactly what's on
Alright.
the behalf.
right,
all right, yeah, because when the judge signs it, there's the dedication.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm-
You should be signing the Mylar and your small copies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm just looking now the cost, being cost efficient for the public, you know. So,
Go ahead.
I'll get
Which
back-
number did you just read?
Huh?
Which number were you just talking about? We're only changing one deal on there, which is the size of.
Well, I'm under the 1.4 development tiers. When it goes to 8.5 by 14, showing linear dimensions of each lot or tract. Certificate from the developer confirming the water availability in sewer.
We're not changing any of that. It's all on there now.
Yeah, I know that, but that's for the plating. Isn't that on? the
You
plat?
still gotta do all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Still, all we're doing is changing the actual size of the document.
that's exactly
And
right.
you can't, and that's the minimum size. You want to turn in a bigger one, go for it.
Okay.
that's what
Just
the code-
reduce
But,
that.
but the minimum size will cost less for the land, the people who's trying to, the developer,
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
I'm trying
I'm
to-
just trying to get away with
Yeah.
these people paying
yeah,
that amount of money for this, when you're under tier 2, 4 lots or less, that face of public. You don't need a Mylar
Yeah.
copy.
yeah, and I guess going in deed records, you have to have 8.5.
The reason why we're right now requesting the 8.5 by 14 is because we can scan it into our system. Our land records are available online. People can go from their home, look at the document, print it from their home, and they still get charged the dollar, so we still get the money.
Yeah.
Problem is that if we don't have the 8.5 by 14, I can't scan it in at the moment.
So, and then if you do my survey with the document, that makes it even better.
Put it all together.
I'd rather go on
Exactly the
behind
same
another
as mine.
surveyor that I got to survey when I'm recreating.
I just want you to understand, we're not changing anything in our guideline other than the size of a piece of paper you got turned
All right,
today. That's all we're doing.
so the engineer don't have to look at these or anything like that.
Yeah,
This
the
is-
engineer's gonna still look at it because it's a miniature picture of the Mylar of the plat.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right,
He'll make sure it's right.
all right,
That's all. We're just changing the size of a piece of paper.
okay. All right,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else? That would like to speak about subdivision regulations? If not, I will call this open meeting closed at 9:31. And we will resume with the regular commissioner court meeting. That takes us to item number 8, discuss, consider a change to the Van Zandt County subdivision regulations. So my understanding is it's on page, there's only one change, page 9.
Yes, sir.
Item number D or 1.4 development tiers, item number D, number 1, is an 8.5 by 14 plat of the survey meets and bounds, showing the linear dimensions and the area acreage of each lot or tract. That's the only change.
Correct.
Okay,
And I would personally like to scratch that meets and bounds in parentheses, because all it does is create confusion, just like it just did for James. Because we are still requiring a plat. We're not going to let somebody sell 4 acres or 5 acres or less with a meets and bounds survey. They're gonna have to plat.
I do the 4 track, the 1 meter bound. One certain feature, 3.4.
As long as you've got the acreage there,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, what are you doing now? That's,
well, I'll be doing it back to the plat, dedicating the whole 4 tracks in one dedication.
well,
That's why you want
That's
to
what
keep
you-
doing it.
yeah.
All we're doing is
That's-
shrinking the
yeah.
size of a piece of paper.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get.
Yes, sir.
You know, all saying.
Changing the size of paper doesn't make it less expensive, and it's the same thing with the plat.
We're doing it on for our end so we can scan them in. We're requiring that. You can give us, you can give a big one if you want, but we need this one. If the customer wants to pay y'all to do that, that's between y'all.
Do y'all plan on shooting and some of the water? That's plan on making the size bigger, because from our experience, they can have about 14, depending on how big the subdivision is, you can't, it's not like. So.
That's why we're talking about 4 lots or less. If it's a big subdivision, if it's a,
Well, I mean, even for lots, on 8.5 by 14, it's still, depending on how big the lots are, I mean, it's still hard to read.
well, it can't be over 5 acres. I mean, I've read everything that you have sent down here on an 8.5.
excuse me a minute. I'm moving us back into open hearing, public hearing on this since we got conversation going. So continue on. I'm sorry.
Well, let me ask you this. So you're still gonna charge the same fee if you don't have to make a Mylar copy?
If I have to do a whole lot of meter bounds, okay, the plan that goes in the cabinet for life.
Those easements are designated on the face of that plat. And I've got them been located by line tables on this plat. But if I'm having to turn around and can't do those line tables, and I had to do meets and bounds on all them, that convolutes that adds more to it.
you're not doing, that's why I'm wanting.
I do lines, I know what to do now. You guys got me straight now. I know exactly what to do. So, yeah, I'm gonna do like a plat, but it's just a fast track.
I just want to make sure you understand, whatever the 8.5 by 14 is, needs to be exactly like the Mylar.
Yes.
Exactly like
Yeah,
the Mylar.
see, that's what
No
we do.
difference.
Yeah, we just reduce it down.
That's
Yes,
exactly
you're just
right.
reducing
Yeah,
it
because when you draw an AutoCAD, it's 1-to-1 anyway, and we make up whatever scale we want to plot it out at.
It just
Yeah.
needs to be exactly the
Yeah.
same, that way, if someone pulls it up online, whether
Yeah.
they can read the fine print or not.
Yeah.
That's fine, they can come in and look at the large plan, we just need to be able to scan in exactly what's down
Okay,
there
yeah, I
in
know.
that file.
I'm on
And
track.
no matter what, you're just dealing
Yeah.
with 4 lots, no
Yeah,
matter what the
yeah.
size.
Yeah. Well, if those 4 lots have a lot of improvements on it, that I have to show everything. So that's the only thing I'm getting at.
It may not work. You may have to do
Yeah,
it.
well, I know what to do.
Yes, sir.
I know what to do. We just debate that.
Any more
They can. but-
discussion?
I think in the long run, it'd be best to have a full size scanner. Because I know with the Texas regulations, the seals are required to be a certain size. So whenever the scale gets shrunk down, the actual legal size of the seals aren't actually the right size. And that's per Texas laws and then statutes. It would be your future camp. It would be best to have a precise scanners, so whenever those are brought into the digital form, everything is actually decided what they need to do. But right now, once you scan the egg out, she may be shrinking, H is about 24 pieces of paper.
So you gotta think, from 18 by 24 down to 8.5 by 14, and that's a big difference.
Okay, so we're just trying to make it available to the customer who is.
No,
Look something up online.
We're just suggesting that in the future, we feel like it would be a lot easier for not only for the public, but also for the surveyors, that the sizes are the size that we are plotting on the water and not 8.5 by 14.
So again, the only reason why we need the 8.5 by 14, you're just gonna downsize that so we can scan it in, that's it. The Mylar is what is going to be on the record. If someone needs to get the full picture or whatever, they're gonna have to come and piece it together until we get the scanner / copy. I haven't seen it yet. I've asked for a picture of the size so I can go and get it.
So you still have to have a Mylar,
Have to have a Mylar.
no matter
absolutely.
what.
No matter what,
Well, this is not doing away with the Mylar.
correct. Yeah, the Mylar, we have to have the glides downstairs.
It's required.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, I guess I misunderstood what we had a meeting about and talked about. That this would do away with the Mylar carton on 4 lots or less.
Well, that's up to the court on how y'all want to do that, but anything that is going to be recorded and it's gonna have the large. Whether it's a piece of paper, if it's gonna be recorded in there, it has to be a Mylar to have a glide number. It's just,
You can't record the,
I can't put it in the glides.
yeah, but it'll still be recorded.
If it's recorded, it has to be something I can scan in.
You can't scan in the documents as 8.5 or 14.
Yes, that would.
Yes.
That's
You can
what I'm
scan in,
saying, so. Whether it's up to y'all to
Yeah.
decide on if this is gonna be a Mylar or not. But we need to know so that I can let my girls know when they come in to record something, they're gonna ask for the Mylar, so we just need to make sure. When's a Mylar, required and when it's not,
It's
y'all
gonna be
need to make that decision.
same thing, it's gonna come before the court, the judge is gonna sign off on it, and it's gonna come to you, you scan that in. It's-
Just the regular-
I've got a suggestion. I do see the plats in Dallas. They do little microfilm of the plat. They're not scale. I can put these things on a Mylar. All I have to do is hit it in the plotter and run these 8.5 by 14 reduced copies. But I'll have to make a note on my survey, it's not scale. I can put them in Mylar form, but
Well, that's what I think Virgil is wanting to do away with the Mylars on the 4
Okay,
lots or
all right.
less.
But because it's too much of an expense for why charge somebody that for 4 lots or less that face a
Yeah.
public road? I mean, that's
Well,
ridiculous. How much do you charge for a mile?
some of these other counties have these fast track small. And who was it? Mason has a real good one, Collin County. Doing a small, it doesn't have to go through the full process, the engineers. and
The
all
way
that.
that they do their tiers is, like what y'all are saying, the lot limit, like certain 3 lots or less or whatever. But the review process is different, so you won't have to jump through as many hoops because the lots may have water, or they have existing septic, or things like that. But the only concern that I had was he's wanting to reduce the size of the survey down to 8.5 by 14. But what we're trying to say is it's not plausible to get rid of the size of paper, I mean, 2 lots, maybe, but you're not thinking about the amount of information that's going on with the plat. But if it's still going with the plat records, like she's saying, then all your signatures are still gonna have to go on.
No,
These amounts of description will go on.
just the
No.
judge and the county clerk is the only one that has to sign that.
Yeah.
I know in other.
And they sign, don't y'all sign off on the smaller ones too?
Sign
all of
You sign off, we're signing on, so that's not even relevant.
I know in other counties, they call it a minor plat versus a finer plat, and if you're not dedicating any roads, all the easements are already set, they consider that a minor plat, and they don't require a judge to sign off on it, they just use the planning, someone who's a spokesperson for the planning committee of that county. They typically just sign off on that. So if that would be a route to have more minor plats rather than final plats.
We have to look into that because as the county clerk, I don't want to be reporting things that have not gone through either the commissioner, I want y'all to be looking at
Well-
that to make sure.
And that's what we're talking about now. We're talking about this, the 8.5 by 14 going through the commission court, just like a regular Mylar copy. We look at it, sign it, you file it in the deed records, and that's it. It's just a miniaturized size of the regular Mylar. That would be with all the information on that.
I mean, we understand that. We're just trying to tell you that 8.5 by 14. We may have to do 4 pages, 3 pages to be able to fit everything because we have our own notes. We may be dedicating easements that will be in the notes. We may have a title commitment that'll be on a transfer. There's just more than just his signature and seal and the judge's signature and whatever commissioner or her signature. It's
Yeah.
more than just that.
Well, you're fitting everything now in a regular Mylar.
Yeah, but it's an 8.5. or
Well,
18 by
And when we get the miniature copies, I can read the same thing is on that that's on the regular Mylar.
But a lot of our.
Well,
That'd be the dedication page, though, that we're not here to try to get you all to change your mind or anything, we're just making suggestions. So
Thank you for being here.
We appreciate your input and we will.
we can confirm whatever you all say, because you're the ruling entity. So whatever you all tell us we need to do, we can get it done. I just look at that.
And I personally agree that there's gonna be times that it's not gonna work.
Yep.
You got too much information. So I understand that.
Any more public comment? Not, then I will,
Can I just say one more thing?
you can say one more thing.
Most
One more.
Most of these, Jim, are not quote developers. They're just landowners out there that's trying to.
Yeah.
Trying to develop something and they're not quote developers. They're just regular landowners that's on this land and they're just trying to.
And see, when I do 4 tracks side by side, I give them discounts. It's not like the full price of a regular survey. If I went out there doing one. Yeah, if I try to help the public on this. I think it's a good idea if, when we do these at 8.5 for 14, that you file the survey with the document. Because anytime I'm out there behind JDS, something like that, one of my guys, we've gotten good. We know who wrote these descriptions. So I'd sure like to see their survey,
No problem with that.
So, yeah. Thank you.
We done? All right, I'm gonna call the public hearing closed at 9:45 a.m. And we will now resume our discussion on item number 8 on discuss and consider change Van Zandt County subdivision regulations. So I believe the only change is to require 8.5 by 14-inch plat. Item number, page 9, item on 1.4 development tiers, item number D, number 1.
Whatever you think.
I make a motion, we accept that change with the exception of the part that's in parentheses, where it says meets and bounds. We'll take that part out and the rest of it go with it.
So your motion is then to substitute for item number 1, an 8.5 by 14 plat of the survey showing the linear dimensions and area / acreage of each lot or tract.
Yes, sir.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll second that.
All right. Commissioner Pearson makes the motion, Commissioner Melton seconds. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 9, discuss, consider the purchase of a 2019 Ford Edge from Canton Ford. I believe that is coming from the sheriff's office.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
We are looking to purchase a 2019 Ford Edge. It is a used vehicle, but it only has 38,434 miles, 435 miles on it. It's like a $10,000 to $15,000 difference from buying a brand new one. Where we're looking to utilize this vehicle is on the jail side. They currently have a Tahoe that they're using over there that we want to bring back over and move to our CID section. By purchasing this Ford Edge, we won't have to equip it. It won't be, won't have to have lights and all that stuff, and we can bring back one over to the CID side that already is equipped. So I'm asking for y'all's blessing to go out and purchase this vehicle.
Yes, Sandy.
Okay.
No, not that one. This one's a white one. It's a 2018. It's not the 2020. Yes. This one is this one's a white and marked one that was used in the patrol side in the previous administration.
Not the vehicles that you purchased out of the commissary.
No, this one's not.
This was marked vehicle one time.
It was a marked vehicle at one time.
Pretty last century, they pulled the decal off of it. Put it over the unmarked vehicle.
Okay.
So on the commissary, you have, or the commissary purchased 2 vehicles. They purchased a 2020 Chevrolet Tahoe and the van,
Yes, ma'am.
and you need a 3rd vehicle for the jail side.
Yes, ma'am. The 2020 Tahoe is being used for transport. So it's dedicated to the transport that needs
Because the vehicles you purchase out of commissary has to be used for the inmates.
yes, ma'am.
And that's all it'd be. The transport deputies drive one of the vehicles, the van up there, we have all of it. It makes time to use it, transport back and forth over here to jail.
Okay. I just want to be sure we're not, we're abiding by the.
What are we gonna do with the one we're buying? If we got one for transport, we have a van or other, what are we doing with this 2019?
This one will be dedicated primarily to the jail captain, but it can be used if, one of the jailers has to go to a class or, something of that nature. The jail captain, he gets called in, has to come back up to the sheriff's office all hours of the day and night, anytime there's some kind of, big event that takes place in the jail, which tends to be quite often here lately. So we want to be able to provide him with the transportation to be able to, since he's on call pretty much 24/7.
So the take-home vehicle
Yes, ma'am.
policy said they will have to be laws. Mileage from home to here, coming back. Because he's not like a law enforcement officer. He could make a stop, and if you're on your way home, Melanie, and a vehicle, and you see something wrong, you can act. Yes, but he has no. I mean, he's just been employed and provided vehicle, drive back. So it's an act.
He's not a peace officer?
No.
The jail captain's not.
He's licensed, so.
It's in the policy 1C-2. We have to follow our regulation.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
That would be a problem.
You'll have to turn your log to the traffic box, but that's gonna have to do.
Do you need it weekly, monthly, yearly? The log for Captain Stoker's vehicle, would you need it weekly, monthly? End of the year?
Well, let's see, I don't know, I don't think monthly would probably be fine, I don't know. It'd probably be better to wait till the end of the year, I'd say. That'd be my personal statement.
Okay.
I don't know if you would write and take them to the different
Sorry.
areas that don't need to stop.
What'd you say, Jessica?
Personal use includes to and from work. So all of those miles would be things he has to turn in at whatever that agreement they work out to turn in weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and they're all be taxed. Or whatever the IRS code is.
Because he's not on call, he's not taking the vehicle anywhere, he's just, why don't we do it for Keegan?
He is on call 24/7 as the jail administrator.
I can see where he's on call, yeah.
There's been multiple times that he goes home and he has to come back up there to the jail to fix some kind of issue that is posted loose.
All right, well, are we ready to call the question or make a motion?
No, not yet.
Okay,
I'd like to,
What-
okay, go ahead.
no, I don't have anything on this.
Where's the funds? How we paying for it?
I have the money in the vehicle purchase fund or in the vehicle funds to purchase this vehicle.
Without doing a budget amendment or anything?
Yes.
Thank you for coming, but I don't believe you even had to come with this.
Any further discussion?
If it was approved in the budget last year, it's approved for vehicles.
So is there a motion to purchase the 2019 Ford Edge from Canton Ford for the amount listed?
From
All right, motion made by Virgil. Is there a second?
Second, Pearson.
Second. All right. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item number 10. Discuss, consider approving the recommendation of Little Hope Moore's Water Supply Company's Selection Review Committee to award resolution engineering services for the WSC's 2023-2024 Texas Department of Agricultural TXCD BG grant sponsored by Van Zandt County to provide application preparation and engineering services if awarded. Okay. Is Mr. Perkins here? Okay, this is part of the process where we have to go through and first say that we'll sponsor the grant. Then we had to announce who was going to administer the grant. And now they're going forward with the engineer for the grant. Okay, so the resolution reads, bear with me quickly. The resolution of the Commissioners Court of Van Zandt County, Texas, selecting an engineer in conjunction with the submittal of an application for funding through the Texas Department of Agricultural, TDA, for the 2023-2024 Texas Community Block Grant Program, Community Development Fund, on behalf of Little Hope Moore Water Supply Corporation. Whereas certain conditions exist which represent a threat to the public health and safety, and whereas it is necessary and in the best interest of Van Zandt County on behalf of Little Hope Moore WSC to apply for funding under the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program. And whereas Van Zandt County on behalf of Little Hope Moore Water Supply Company has sought proposals from engineering firms for application preparation and project implementation. And whereas Van Zandt County on behalf of Little Hope More WSC performed these solicitations in compliance with guidelines for recipients under item number 2 CFR Part 290. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Commissioners Court of Van Zandt County, Texas, as follows. The Commissioners Court has reviewed and hereby formally selects the firm of Stevens Engineering as the engineering firm for the application preparation and project implementation in conjunction with the 2023-2024 Texas Community Block Grant Program Development Fund application. That is the resolution.
I met with them the other day, Andy. There was only 2 firms that applied. And this one right here, they've always used them. They've been pleased with them.
They're happy with
And
them.
they're happy with them.
Okay.
So they said they were
Happy and familiar with them. That's good. Okay. So is there a motion that we approve this resolution?
I approve it.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded to approve the resolution for the Little Hope More WSC. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Moving on to item number 11. Addendum to the 3rd lease extension with the South Van Zandt Volunteer Fire Department. We've been working, we renewed the South Van Zandt Fire Department lease for the East Annex back in April of 2022. And it is basically for the amount of that we typically give volunteer fire departments. And it is part of the lease includes them paying the electrical bill. And we have decided it would be better to include the electrical portion, a portion of that in the lease itself, so as that they can get the lease, the electric rate that we get because we're in a pool. And they potentially could lose that rate if they took on billing themselves. It was billed to them directly. So the average monthly bill is $100, and it's a little bit complicated in that the electric that they pay also powers the well that is used on the property, and it powers the covered space where we keep our bus, our emergency management bus. And so what we thought was fair was that $20 of the monthly electrical bill would be used toward the well and $10 would be used toward the bus. So it would add basically $70 a month in electrical charges to the lease. And that's what we're proposing to do, is to amend the lease to add the lease already states that they'll pay the electrical, but this would state a fixed amount in that regard based on the average for the last 2 years. So that is what the intent is. The objective also is to make it from an accounting standpoint easier on everyone involved, because then we weren't receiving 2 checks from them and having to process that, and we're not having to bill them for the electrical use each month.
So the rent's gonna go to $670 a month,
Correct.
and the electricity for the building will be included.
That is correct.
So
Well,
moved,
the addendum is just adding $70 a month to the base rate.
so moved, Pearson.
Okay.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Not, all's in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 12, approve the appointments of the Agri-Life Extension Service for Van Zandt County. Last Commissioners Court meeting, we met Allison Morrow, who will become our new county extension agent. And we also met Amy Shively, who will become the family community health agent. And those are actually appointments made by the AgriLife Extension Service, and we just need to approve those appointments that are made. So I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So
All right, motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 13, approve certificate pay policy for the employee handbook. And that policy we actually approved certificate pay at the February 1st or 8th meeting, I believe. And well, it came up in the minutes that we didn't have the minutes correct. And so we needed to get the policy written, and that's what this is. Attached here is the certificate pay policy. And the numbers are all the same as what we discussed in the Commissioner Court meeting. And so is there a motion to accept the approve the certificate pay policy for the employee handbook?
Did we state that in there that it's only for sheriff's office?
Okay, we'll do that in discussion part. I need well, go ahead.
It's down here at the bottom, the listed as a dispatcher.
That won't work. It's got to be working for those departments, because I have people that work for me that they work at the part of their job is doing jail, part of their duties. And the whole purpose of this is to retain people at the jail. I don't need help retaining people in the road and bridge. And so I would like it to read those three departments and not anybody that has a certificate or their job duties.
Okay, so you want to change it to employee working at the sheriff's office or jail or DA office or fire marshal?
Yes, sir. That's the three positions, the three areas that we're trying to help.
Well, we can't technically change it until we approve it, I guess, or maybe we can do that in the
we can amend the motion.
yeah.
Right.
What we do, we can amend the motion.
Okay. So is there a motion? I need a motion to accept or approve the Van Zandt County certificate pay policy.
Can I comment on this before?
Yes, you may.
For an example, I was approached by an employee who is a peace officer, and they have a specialized certificate for arson investigator. The only line that states anything about that is that it's subject to approval by an elected official or department head. It doesn't say anything about that they have to be working in that capacity. So, for example, this person didn't get the arson investigator certification because he doesn't work at the fire marshal's office. So I think we need to have that a little more specific.
Okay, well,
Otherwise, all I'm gonna be able to do is to send everyone right back to their elected official over them, their department head, because I can't change their certificate when they feel like they should have that.
What
So
kind of
I need to
certificate
do
is
so.
it? What kind?
This first question was yesterday, and it was for arson investigator.
Yeah,
It's a peace officer. He does not work at the fire marshal's office.
okay.
Okay, so with this wording, they could have given it to him if they wanted to, or not, because it doesn't say they have to be acting in that area.
Because that's a specialized certificate.
Right, because they have that certificate.
But we're not approved, we're not agreeing to any specialized certificates. We're just staying with basic, intermediate, advanced, and master.
No.
Right here. We got
Specialized
specialized.
Well,
You can pay them, but it's.
I don't think we agreed to that the last time. We said it was too much trouble to keep up with the specialized certificate.
We accepted as it was presented, which included that.
it says here in the policy, certificates in the approved list are subject to change at the discretion of the elected official or department head. Okay.
I just want to put that out there, that was brought up yesterday.
Okay.
So just take that into consider.
Doesn't have to be a fire marshal to investigate.
So that's one that's come up already. And I just want to put that out there while we're in discussion.
Okay.
They only get three.
So I would like to propose that, aside from what Keith has proposed, that we have a workshop to update our new policy at some point in time, but now's not the time to try to update it. We got to get it approved as it is, and then we can fine tune it. Because there's lots of questions that are coming up in that regard.
Once you approve it though, they gotta figure out how to put it on paycheck. Whether we've workshopped and worked it out or not, next pay
Right.
period, it's gotta go in effect.
Right.
Just table this.
This went into effect on the paycheck we received 3/3. We have entered the certificate pay already.
But not the specialized certificate.
Yes, sir, we have.
You know, when we had the meeting that time, didn't you remember when we said that it was gonna be too much problem to keep up with these specialized certificates? And you agreed?
I have all the certificate worksheets turned in by all the areas with their information to enter them in that way.
Commissioner Court, we approved as it presented, which included that word.
Okay.
Whatever.
So we have we had a motion
Motion on
to
chair.
accept? Okay, can I get a motion to accept certificate pay policy for the employee handbook?
Well, I guess we might as well since we're already doing it.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and we have a second. Now we have discussion.
Who's second?
Me.
Commissioner LaPratt. Okay, so Commissioner Pearson has asked us to change it for Van Zandt County employees working in the sheriff department, the jail, the DA's department, or the fire marshal's department. Does someone want to make a motion to add that to the certificate pay policy?
So moved.
Well, can we have more discussion? Or are we through with it? I mean,
No,
I just
yes.
don't agree to any kind of specialized certificates. Come on, it's. T-close is basic, intermediate, advanced, and master. If you've got that, you get. No, there's nothing. There's nothing in there that we should be paying any kind of specialized certificate.
Do you agree with the specialized certificates that are listed in the current policy?
No, I don't agree. I mean, why should we pay? Okay, who has the specialized, the fire marshal? One of the fire.
I'm talking about these right here, that have listed as specialized certificates.
And
Do you agree?
they're in all the agencies, all the different ones have different specialized.
They may be in all agencies, but all the agencies are not paying for specialized certificates.
If we put it in and their employee falls under this category and they approve it, it'll get paid according to the way this is written. I'm a little concerned about
Up to 3.
the list is subject to change.
Up to 3.
I mean, what if? I mean, I guess anybody that has a basic or advanced. They say, okay, I think I want that extra, so I'm gonna get a specialized certificate. I mean, you could have every peace officer out there obtain a specialized certificate.
That is
Whether
correct.
they need it or not.
But they can only get paid for 3. And we're talking $80 was $180 a year. Or no, $60 per certificate is what it is per year.
No, sir, it's $180 for each specialized certificate up to three, and three would be $540, two is $360, and the one is $180. Is the way that it was. put in.
Right,
So $180 per certificate?
correct,
Yes,
right, on an annual basis.
up to three.
It's not the amount of money. That's not it.
What is it?
It's paying for something that they're getting paid for being a T-close certified officer, either basic, intermediate, advanced, or masters. And that should cover it. You know, that is the basic T-close elevation of everything that involves a peace officer. And I don't know that, does T-close throw in? No, they don't say anything about specialized certificates or anything like that.
Well, Melanie mentioned,
They issue specialized certificates.
They issue them, but do they say anything about the pay for a specialized certificate?
I don't know
What?
I don't know what T-Close says about the pay for it.
Right.
They don't set a pay or set a standard on it. But I do realize that, for instance, me being a hostage negotiator or
Right.
some of those things, it takes a lot of extra training that I'm required to maintain that certificate in my own expense most of the time. Because the department doesn't, they don't specialize in that, so I have to go outside of that training, and I have to do my own time, my own meeting. Be able to maintain that certificate, just like a field training officer. That's a lot of extra time that I can spend waiting or looking, training, working, things of that nature, but the department is paying for any of that. I'm having to do this.
So Joe, doesn't that help you become a master? If you're not a master, doesn't that training help you become a master?
No, sir. My college, my years of experience.
And specialized training, if you have that doesn't go towards you being a whatever, a basic, I mean, an intermediate or advanced or masters?
Yes, sir. Every class that you take.
Yes,
those.
absolutely.
But you gain that master through time, education, and all of the required classes that were required to take out to CE.
That's fine. I mean, if human resource, you don't have a problem with it.
I don't, as long as, if we are going to do it this way, then if they have the certificate and it's not based on where they work, then if they have it, they should have gotten that specialized certificate paid for up to three.
well, I remember in our meeting, Melanie mentioned, we have some officers that have certain certifications, but it has nothing to do with their job. And so she said she wasn't gonna pay them for those certificates. Like, just like you mentioned, the fire investigation. If there happens to be an officer over there that never does fire investigation, then she said she wasn't gonna pay them on that. I agree.
And the whole matter is, who's gonna keep up with all this? Who deserves to get a certificate, pay for a certificate, and who doesn't, and
They are.
are you gonna keep, I'm gonna ask you gonna keep up with all that?
I can't, because I don't have access to pull any of their information. It has
Well,
to come
that's
from
what I'm
the
talking about.
departments.
The elected.
So say he has the arson certificate and then he gets another certificate, well, then that qualify him for a basic. So these classes that he's taking is qualifying him for the basic. Is that right?
There's mandated classes that you have to take. People mandates that there are certain classes you have to take to take a basic license. Once you've taken your basic license, there's your service and continuing education hours, plus mandated classes that you have to take to advance to the intermediate license. And it goes on up the scale for each tier of license that you advance. People mandates classes that you have to take.
So some of these special certificates that we're talking about, some of them might not qualify you for the basic or intermediate.
None of the
advanced.
classes that are on the specialized certificate approved list, or whatever you want to call it, are mandated classes by T-Polls advanced license. So if there's something you do in addition to
If it's 40 should be 40 hours, 40 hour meeting.
That's right.
But it's not gonna be a 40 to get this. It's a specialty course. Does that make sense?
And I'd like to remind us that the purpose of the specialized certificate pay was to help retain the people we have on,
Correct.
employed with
Correct.
us. It's, and that's why, and the specialty was maxed out at 3 for that very reason, because many of them have many more than 3.
Let me add one thing to it too. We're really focused most fair, most accurate way to do this. We'll keep track of who's certificate, who's actually practicing in that field of special training, okay? Who's at that they're working in it. But we want to be fair if we can. We're over for input. I want to make sure we understand if somebody does specialized training, we're not working in the field. For y'all to give us, give them the money for that. That's kind of what she's basically for the policy.
I think if we can retain them, it's 180 hours per certificate. That's a heck of a lot cheaper than trying to go out and hire another one after one leaves.
It is, we lost 3 more at the last Friday, we lost 3 more deputies.
We didn't have someone to negotiate the office. We'd have to put them in another county. Or we get them.
To me, if you pay one for a specialized certificate, you ought to pay them all, regardless. They got it, they've got their certificate.
They get to choose the 3 certificates they want to get paid.
That's what I'm saying. What the dispatcher has a certificate. What did you say? What kind of certificate?
We have a
Available.
arson investigation.
Yeah. And then he ought to get paid too.
The area,
Yeah, but
Actually,
he has a certificate.
investigate part.
Okay, well, there's hundreds of certificates, or at least 100. So we have just chosen in this policy, these 9 or 10, these 10, which are the most frequent or most common. And again, going back to it, we're trying to be competitive with the other counties that are offering certificate pay, and they also have specialized certificates, pay for specialized certificate pay in that regard. So we're merely mimicking or trying to keep up with what is already being done out there.
Well, I have a concern over the wording in the specialized certificate pay. It'll be the last 2 sentences, because it says certificates in the approved list are subject to change. Here's my problem: at the discretion of the elected official or department head. That means they can add or subtract
Correct.
certificates down here instead of it being the set amount.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what was intended at Atlanta, or if it was intended that the department head would choose which ones on the list you get. But it's worded that they can add to the list at their discretion instead of the court doing. And that's my concern there.
So does anyone have an objection with scratching that sentence that says that are subject to change at discretion of elected official? We can just scratch that out right now.
Well, so he just had, you got a hostage certificate?
I don't, I was using that as a.
Oh, so if someone had that, it's not on here. Let's say we need that. Then if we change the words, we don't have the head, the department head cannot give the certificate pay.
They would have to come back to the court and amend the policy to add it to it.
Right.
Okay.
Because otherwise you let them the discretion to whatever they want to use to give somebody to get them up to them 3, they could throw in there at any time. And it won't be the discretion of the court on the policy at that point in time.
I don't have a problem leaving that out.
Okay. So my understanding and that we have a motion to approve the certificate pay policy, and I would entertain a motion to amend that policy to 1, add on under requirements to receive incentive pay under number 1, we add that an employee of the Van Zandt County Sheriff's Department, the jail, the DA office, or the fire marshal. And that we also scratch the sentence on the bottom, the last sentence, it says certificates and approved lists are subject to change at the discretion of the elected official or department head. Those are the two changes that I believe that we decided that y'all have indicated you'd like to see. So somebody like to make that amend our motion.
So we're not gonna pay everybody that has a certificate, just the ones that the sheriff or the DA say that we need to fire marshal.
They've approved, yes.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. So motion has been made and seconded to amend the certificate pay policy. Is there any further discussion? If not, all is in favor of the amended motion, say aye. All those opposed, like sign. Okay. All right, now we go back to our original motion, to approve the certificate pay policy as amended.
Almost. Brandon.
No, I think we have a motion, we just need, is there any further discussion?
No, we've already.
Yeah.
We've already.
Yeah.
Motion and
We're there.
Okay, so I just want to double check on the motions. The first time around, the motion was Keith and Chad, and then the amended was also Keith and Chad, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So the amendment, so now we're voting on the amended motion. All those in favor of approving the certificate pay policy as amended, say aye. All those opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item number 13. No, that was 13. Item number 14. Rules of procedure for the Commissioners Court as discussed in the February the 15th workshop. This is merely what we post out on the bulletin board is what we how we conduct our court Commissioners Court meetings. And I sent out the changes. Basically the only changes were the date it started and the commissioner's names. There was really no changes in the rules that I remember. So is there a motion to accept the rules and procedure for conduct and decorum at the meetings of the County Commissioners Court?
I'll motion.
All right.
Second, Pearson.
Any discussion? Motion's made second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, motion passes. Item number 15 has been withdrawn. We will see it in the future. So item number 16, discuss, consider, and approve purchasing portable radios for the Van Zandt County Sheriff's Office. Okay, who's got the lead?
I put it on there, Mr. Max is here to present.
Okay,
Good morning, Board. Well, it's been brought to my attention that, I don't know if y'all remembered last year sometime, Kaufman County donated some portable radios to get us through the stretch until our new radio system goes into effect. And we obtained those portables. A lot of them were in disrepair. We've tried to make the best of them as we can. Some of them are no longer functioning. We paid to have them programmed. And those radios are of a lower wattage than what our system is requiring for them to transmit any further than a few miles from the Wills Point Tower, short of that, or if they're directly at the East Tower. So they have no communications. It's common practice now that these deputies are just leaving these portables either in their car or at the station because they're of no use to them. So we are now in the process to where our system is being developed out, and we have the opportunity to possibly purchase radios, the new radios for the new system that are multi-band radios that will currently work now with the frequencies that we have. And once the new system goes online, all they have to do is be reprogrammed with us doing the programming to fit the new system. They'll run 700-800 megahertz, and they'll also run 150 megahertz on a conventional or legacy type system that we're currently on. We're asking to be able to purchase 25 of those radios out of the ARPA fund now, which is, we were going to ultimately purchase them in about 18 months anyway. We're just wanting to speed that up. And using that portion of the ARPA funds that we were going to be spending later on And the purchase, I'll give you an example, possibly 40 radios later on is what we were wanting to do. Now we'll only have to purchase 15 at that point.
So technically, we've already approved the purchase of those radios. You're just wanting to change the timing to get them now before the system's installed, correct?
As far as the approval of the purchase, I'm not sure. I know we're doing this in phases under the ARPA. The grant, I'm not sure what phases y'all have approved previous courts.
These radios were part of the contract with Harris to provide radios for the county. It's just a matter of whether we pick them up about a year from now when we go to implement the system, or if they go ahead and get them now and use them on a legacy system, and then we just program them into the new system at that time. So rather than the sheriff's office investing money in purchasing radios on the legacy system, or a lot of money repairing these to maintain them for a year, they're asking to go ahead and get this amount of handhelds out of what was originally designed for them now, so they have them to use rather than spending money on them trying to repair the old one.
Is this the exact same radio
Yes,
that we're gonna already approved to buy in the future?
yes,
It is?
Yes.
yes, sir.
And all these will be at the sheriff's office?
Yes, sir. We're asking for 25 of those radios. There's a disadvantage. That's also an advantage. The disadvantage is if we take the radio now, the warranty starts just on those 25 radios, not on the entire package that we planned on buying later. But it also helps us to, if there's any bugs with these radios, we get those bugs worked out now. We know that this is an issue with this radio at this point moving forward. And we can take that up with Harris once we get our final load of radios in.
So this is just 25. How many are you allotted?
I believe the number was 40.
For the sheriff's office as a total, there was more agencies involved.
Yeah.
They're just getting the 25 from the patrol division.
And do you get any more later on, or is that it?
Yes, there's more coming later on.
How many more?
I believe it's 15 additional radios. I think we allotted 40 total for the sheriff's
Okay,
department.
40 for the, okay.
I believe that's the number. I'm not completely accurate. Or I can't remember. We did this about 18 months ago, so I can't recall the exact number, but I believe it was 40.
It's gonna be around there. I didn't pull that either because they were just looking for the patrol division. So when he come to me, I just pulled what he needed based on his patrol. And his positions available in the operations side of the department. Should put it that way, operations side. Right.
And gentlemen, to answer your question, Commissioner Pearson, I'd like to piggyback his request and ask to get the two from my office now as well. My guys have come to me and what they have is not working. We also bought some used radios and we bought vehicles. They work pretty good, not great. They're stuck in the vehicle though. They're console mounted. We have no portable radios and my guys are in need of that. They had actually asked me to put on the next agenda. Could I buy them out of forfeiture and they'll reimburse in a year? But if it's possible to just buy them now out of the ARPA funds, that'd be great. That'd be a big help for us.
John,
Yeah.
they made one of our investigators, he's in their office, they come all the time today. He asked, he's got a job, he's very active in business.
And once he leaves his car, he has no communication.
They made a sizable drug arrest last night. Covered a weapon. And retrieved use it for the radio.
So is 2 enough?
I just have two investigators.
Okay.
Is that what was dedicated for your office to start with, or no?
I think there's more, so we have one for her too.
Yeah, I believe there was one dedicated to me also, but two for now would be great.
I think originally we allocated 5 for the DA's office. I believe that's the number that we allocated for future growth or replacement for spares. In case one of them has a malfunction, they don't have to be without a radio. They can just grab a spare and it can go off.
But by getting the 25 and the 2 now, and then the others later, it'll allow the other ones to start their warranty at the time of the rest of the system. Because with these radios, once they're programmed and in service, radios, the warranty starts then. So they'll have roughly a year's less warranty on them than the rest once we get started.
Yeah, and I understand that, but I have to read it. The fact that guy out there, two guys out there. One that happens to more often. One say they go far, they've got no communication other than trying to dial cell phones. They don't always have things to do.
Another advantage to going to these radios now, it opens us up to the new, we'll call it a channel, the old legacy systems, they were called channels, today they're called talk groups. That allows them to immediately begin the interoperability, so if for some reason they're not able to reach our dispatch through the legacy VHF side of that radio, they can switch a channel and go to the new East Texas law call that's going to be monitored by our dispatchers currently, also by Henderson County, Kaufman County, and Hunt County. It will also allow them to program in now the GMRS interoperability. So if they're anywhere, they can hit that tower from here on a portable. If sugar goes completely to crud, they'll be able to get help coming. They'll just be doing it through an opposite dispatcher. So if you can't reach anybody, they should still be able to reach Mesquite or Garland. And they'll be able to call our dispatcher and say, hey, you got a guy screaming for help.
They'll be able to hit Canton direct too.
And also Canton, yes, I forgot about that. We'll be able to program Canton. If they're on the system.
DPS.
Thank you.
So if we add two more for the DA, I think it would bring that total up, if I run my math here, at $97,050.34.
Which radio would be mine? And there's two XL.
This is a class 6 radio. They're intrinsically safe. It's not uncommon for our deputies to roll up on a wreck or something where you could have gases released or whatever. You don't want them keying up and setting off a fire.
It's the one for 5961. That's the XL 200P.
Barry built me a spreadsheet and I run the numbers off it. Did you have a copy of what I run today? Okay, well, let me give you a copy of this, or he can give you that one. Barry and Harris spent the last 3 weeks going back and forth, nailing it down to where our discount applied to the purchase price per radio. And so that's what that represents you have in your hand.
So Chad, is this gonna be, this is coming off of the PO that we currently have there for the, we did a PO over here for 5,700,000, well, it was actually 6,000,005.
That's it.
So is it gonna come off of this PO?
Yes.
So we don't need to.
No, ma'am. We got that in place. We're just approving purchasing the radio early instead of waiting till the end. And also the worksheet I gave you there, we had our consultant firm coordinate with Harris's project manager to break down and apply the discounts per radio. And so you'll see the price that you got there is cheaper than the one you just read off because it shows a discount applied.
So the present PO includes everything these radios in.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And I believe technically, Tom, I'm 100% for getting your radios. But I don't believe we could address that because the way this is worded is for the sheriff's office. But because we've already approved, actually, we've already approved the purchase of these, I think we can go ahead and buy those two radios that you need now legally.
And I did reach out to Grant Works and Barry, and I had emails. They're in agreement that we can go ahead. There's not a problem. Go ahead and purchase it right away. I do have an email. Because I did reach out and make sure it wouldn't be a problem.
I make a motion, we proceed on with buying 27 of these portable radios for now. That will be used on our new system when we go to it.
Second, LaPrade.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 17, discuss and consider approval of fiscal year 2023 budget amendments.
So move, Pearson.
Okay. For a second. Second by Commissioner Melton. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, like sign, motion passes. Item number 18. Just now looking at is discuss and consider monthly reports submitted by various offices and departments of the county government. We have received for the January reports for all but 2 departments, and obviously being March 1st, we haven't started receiving the February reports. So, and the 2 reports included in our list here are the actually there's one from the EMS. So, is there a motion to approve monthly reports?
So moved.
All right. All those in, any discussion? Motion made, second, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Okay, at this point in time, at 10:37 a.m., we will go into closed executive session. Compliance with section of 551.072 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Thank y'all for